Network, hello. It is I, Adam, and I'm here with Matt. That is right. We're together. Matt,
say hello, everybody.
Yeah, I was gonna say hello to everybody. Nobody's gonna believe me. Dude, this is crazy. It's 2021. We wanted to say Happy New Year. Cheers to you, Matt. It's been a while.
Cheers
It's been
to
a
you
long
too.
while. Yeah, very good to see you.
Cheers to 21.
What are you drinking right now?
I've got a New Glarus, Two Women. It's the sister of the Spotted Cow. It is incredible.
Repping the state as I am too. I've got a Mobcraft IPA. That's a Milwaukee brew. Delicious. And I'm drinking it out of Miller glass just to keep everybody legit. Because my dad's coming over. He worked for Miller. He'll have my head if I'm not. So we've had a hell of a 2020. Let's just put it that way across the board. So instead of recapping just that, why don't we look forward to 2021 a little bit? But before we do, I wanted to throw it over to Matt. He's got some stuff that he wants to talk about.
Right. Thanks, Adam. So it's been a long time since we've been able to, even with Zoom calls, to do a podcast together and kind of touch base and all those sorts of things. And TPN's been around for a while and has grown so much over the years and turned into really something special. So what I wanted to do is kind of circle back around to our first episode. And that's where I almost interviewed you on how TPN got started and what that looked like. But I think as we start off 2021, it's a really good opportunity for you to kind of recap where we came from, what we've done over the past 7-8 years, and kind of what direction we're heading. I think that is kind of a nice way to just kind of catch everyone up on what's going on. So let's start off with that. Just tell us the origin story. How did this thing get started?
Let's not recap 2020. Let's recap the summer of 2012. That's what you're saying. And it's funny because we didn't really talk much about this before we were able to talk to each other right before we started podcasting. I wrote an email kind of bringing up a couple of our staff members about this. And I think maybe that's what kind of spurred Matt on. And a lot of people don't really know TPN didn't just start in 2019 or whenever. It started in 2012. I was sitting in a bee hut in Bagram, Afghanistan. Many of you know what that is. The base there, and I was a contractor, and I was trying to figure out how I was going to get hired at FedEx. And I scoured Facebook, stalked people on Facebook who I knew that worked at FedEx, and said, "Wow, I know like 7 people, 2 of them very closely, who I was still very good friends with, and 5 others who were kind of people I had intermingled with in my previous life." So I said, I'm just going to put them all in a Facebook group because I didn't want to look like an ass asking for letters of recommendation. So I figured if I put them all in and we have like this conversation. So it's really funny. Not my close personal friends were the first 7 members of the pilot network. Essentially, these 7 dudes from FedEx and myself made up the first 8 original TPN members. And then I had this kind of moment where I said, you know what? I bet you I'm not the only person who struggles with this problem. Now, the problem didn't exist because, as you well know, we had just met, maybe 6 months prior, like face-to-face met about 6 months prior when
you was just down the hall in the active duty squad.
You'd been at MacDill for maybe a year, maybe even less than that. And I was leaving to go home to Milwaukee, and somebody introduced us saying, "Hey, you guys are both Wisconsin people." We had mutual friends, and I said, "Oh, that's cool." I said, "You should get out and go to the reserves." And you laughed, you kind of laughed at me, and you're like, "No, that's not my thing." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, we'll talk later." And
I was at year 6 in my commitment. There wasn't a lot of movement.
There wasn't a lot of movement, and that is an opaque object to look through in the future. I do understand that, and so I was having the same. On the flip side, I was having the same issues, kind of like, okay, I had gotten my ATP and whatever, but I was like, there's nothing to go do, and I got this contract job, and I'm sitting in Afghanistan. I said, and then back to that, I said, I'm going to grab everybody I know who flies airplanes for a living, military or otherwise, who's in my friend group, and put them in this Facebook group. And I'm going to throw a couple family members in just because I figured the bigger the group is, the more people will see it. I don't know what the algorithms do or whatever. And I put like I think it was 390 folks. I don't know why the number sticks out, but it does. And fast forward about a week later, there was double that many. I seeded the conversation. Hey, I'm just trying to figure out. I want us all to be able to boost each other up. A dear friend of ours always said, "Rising tide raises all ships," and I wanted to continue to see that. Well, before I even knew what that was, I wanted to see, hey, if we're all working together, maybe it'll make it easier to get work and get jobs in the future. So I added a bunch of people, and the guy down the hall in my B hut said, "This is going to be a big failure, and you're never going to. What stupid? Nobody's ever going to use it. Go on there." He said,
Like
"It's
all true good ideas.
like all true good ideas." On top of that, the big thing that I want to iterate to people. So for those of you who are entrepreneurial by nature, or have ideas, um, most likely your idea is self-serving, and that's fine. That my idea was 100% self-serving. There was nobody else who was going to gain from this but me when I first created it. That was the whole idea. And there was no money, there was nothing. It was just, how can I figure out how to not look like an asshat asking for letters of recommendation? That was it. And then it became, wait a second, there's way more to this networking thing than asking for letters of recommendation. There's so much else out there. And that's how Matt and I kind of got reconnected. I was at LUD. And in fact, I don't know if I ever told you this, but at LUD, I don't know if it was that it wasn't that time that we reconnected,
Right there in
but
the
it was the
gym. Yep.
it was the next deployment. I walked in and this guy came up to me and he saw my name tag and he goes, "I know you." And I'm like, "Oh, whoa, I didn't know her. That wasn't me." All sorts of declaratives and denials came out. And he goes, "No, dude, you're the TPN guy." And he goes, "I owe you drinks for the rest of your life." And I go, "Explain." And this is the key to networking, Matt. He said, "I went on the pilot network shortly after you invited me." I thought it was some stupid group on Facebook. And this is when Facebook groups weren't really that big of a thing. Said, "I saw a post by a guy who I knew from way back when, who is at American, who is an old friend of mine who I'd lost touch with. I wrote him a Facebook message. 'Hey, dude, what's up? Great to see you at American. That's where I want to go.'" And American had just started hiring. He immediately calls his number and says, hoping that it's his number. And now this is the guy at American. And he's like, "Hello?" And so, I just got your message. He goes, "You want to go to American, right?" And he goes, "Yeah." He said, "Do you have your resume with you?" He goes, "Yes, I do." He goes, "Email it to me immediately. I'm at the headquarters of American Airlines." And this is before they stopped taking 8 resumes, like you could pass them to the HR folks.
Mhm.
That was still going on. He passed it along. And from the time he joined TPN, talked to this guy, to the time that he was sitting at an interview in American was like 2.5 weeks.
Wow.
So that's networking by reaching back out and being kind to those people around you for no other reason than being kind, because you never know when they're going to help you. And he was literally reaching out, just saying, "Hey man, Americans where I want to be, blah, blah, blah." He knew guy probably couldn't do anything for him, but lo and behold, that was the case. That is the origin story, plus a little bit of just a snapshot of stuff that's happened in the TPN ecosystem for years now. And when Matt came on, which was probably what, 2014, does that sound about right?
Mm, I don't
13,
know. Yeah,
14.
something like that. I was in from the start. I was one of the early ones that you
Yeah,
added
you were
in
like,
there
yeah, you
towards
were
the end.
under 1,000 on the
Right. Yeah, it was probably 2013, 2014, something like that, where we were at that deployment and we started talking. And it was, I was kind of entrepreneurial minded at that time and really saw the potential of what was going on. But what we were really talking about is how quickly things in the Facebook feed just kind of disappeared out of sight, and it was the same questions being asked over and over
Mm-hmm.
again. And we wanted to find out if there was some way to create an archive of a lot of that information in a longer format. And I
Yep,
think
that was
that
the
was
first thing.
that's where we invented TPNQ, the Pilot
Mm-hmm.
Network Quarterly.
That was the
We
first.
basically thought that let's take the big questions that are asked over and over again, have a subject matter expert write it down in an article format, and publish it as a magazine.
Yeah.
Part of it was because I wanted to teach myself how to make a digital interactive
Again,
magazine for the
a,
iPad.
a self-serving
Yep.
piece of the puzzle, but it always comes back to, if it's not, if it, that seems to help other people. It helps people when you do
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
And ultimately what that did is those articles turned into podcast episodes and a
Mhm.
website and a membership app and all sorts of stuff. And that really gave rise to uh, interest by sponsorship and other companies that want to speak to the membership and have value to add to what we're doing here, and believe in the mission and how we're doing it, and have our values, and want to have the heart of a teacher and help people. In early on, ForeFlight joined as a sponsor and has been here ever since. And
Mhm.
they've been incredible partners in Mill to ATP and Cockpit to Cockpit and Plane Form and in Pivot and Flyboys and all these awesome companies, and now Bose and Checked and Set and Bogey Dope, and I'm probably missing a couple. Trident Home Mortgage is our most recent one, and then we've had a couple come and go over the years, and some that stick out in my mind that we really want to work with are Flying Eyes Sunglasses. I mean, and then Squadron Posters, companies that are started by fellow pilots who have something material to contribute to the network. And what we've learned over that time is that everyone ingests information differently, whether it's the podcast, the spoken word, or they like reading it in TPNQ, or they like to stick to Facebook, or they like the quieter aspect of the membership site. Everyone ingests information just a little bit different.
Yep.
And we've been asked for years why we don't put this stuff out as YouTube channel, as video, and those sorts of things. And it was always something we just didn't have the bandwidth for. We were doing too many things. We didn't know what this looked like yet. And so we're, admittedly a little bit late to the game, but right here, what you're seeing, is us responding to that. And what we're really trying to do is bring a new way for the network to kind of uh, see and hear this information, and we're trying to bring in guests and do a lot of the stuff that we do on the podcast, but do it in video format. And it's really gonna expand what we can offer to members, and I think that's kind of exciting about that.
Yeah, it's funny. I always think back to one particular individual who always told us to grab YouTube by the horns and use it. We'll uh, we'll let him remain nameless, but he's got his own YouTube channel that's separate aviation wise of everything else, and we may have to link it somewhere because it's pretty funny.
We'll give him a shout out
But
for sure.
yeah, but he was right. We'll call him Tyler A for no other for nothing else. For those of you who don't know. But with that said, uh, we didn't have the bandwidth, and we tried different ideas, or we thought about different ideas. Because I remember I wanted to go forward with one idea, and I realized that it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work, and we weren't good. Neither of us. We were both good at a lot of different things, but one of the things that both of us were not great at together was figuring out how to streamline our process of doing stuff together. And then we kind of did. It took a pandemic. It took months off of airline flying. It took all sorts of different things coming together to just go, you know what, we have to sit down. It took us our with all due respect and love, our nagging wife, Jason, to put us to task to say, you need to streamline.
Mhm.
If you don't streamline your process, you have no process and you aren't going to be able to put out the stuff that you want to do, because what do you both really want to do? And the answer's always been is to help the network.
Yeah.
And we realize we don't have 1/100th of the answers for people. What we do have is the connections, the network, to provide those answers to you, no matter what they are. And we realize that not taking the opportunity to utilize YouTube the way it is was kind of a foul on our part. And one, we just figured, we're like, we got to do it. So we also know that not a lot of people see what we're putting out, and we want to try to fix that issue. And I think Matt and I hopefully came up with a decent solution to do that. Matt, do you want to tell them a little bit about that? Because you know it better than I do.
Well, so here's the deal is, we're always super upfront with you is if you subscribe to the channel, it helps us build the channel. It helps YouTube realize that we're here to help and then serve the channel up to other people. So what we need from the membership is simply to subscribe. And what we're going to do is hopefully we can, our goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers. Right now we're starting off modest. There's no ulterior motives here. We just want as many people to have exposure to the content that we're putting out and help this aspect of TPN grow. So that's our goal, and we need the network's help to help us get there, because as we're growing, we're hiring some employees to help us create content. And Steve Cox over at Clear Direct is making some pretty awesome videos and helping us out with that. Our TPN correspondents are putting out awesome content too. And, we've got Jason, he's writing more stuff than ever. And that's incredible. I mean, just last week you did Milk Keep. Chris and Kim were
Mhm.
on and did a demo of some of the new stuff they've
Yep.
got going at Milk Keep. I mean, it's
Yep.
incredible. So we're going to see some of that stuff. So that's our ask to you guys is help us out. Just hit the subscribe button to the
Smash it,
channel.
right? They
Yeah.
say smash.
I, I never understand why people say that, but it is what it is. But here's the deal is we're going to help you out. So this is how we know we got legit. How cheesy is this? So we made TPN challenge coins. Hey, can you
Word
see
up.
that? Okay. Am I doing that? TPN
Yeah.
challenge coins.
Flip it. Wait,
And
show them the other side. Show them the other side.
oh yeah. We got all sorts of stuff. So we got TPN challenge coins. We've got a Bose headset that was donated by our friends at Bose. So we got an A20 headset we're going to give away. We got all sorts of plain form
Ooh.
openers. Yeah. We
Is that
got
a
the TPN
T37?
hat.
Was that a T37?
It's an Icon A5 who's been on the podcast. So
That's
an
oh, you
Icon,
know what? Well, it kind of looks T37y.
a little bit. Yeah. Not, yeah, a little bit.
I
I'll admit.
kind of want Gavin to make me a T37 because I have a
Yeah.
7.4 and a B52.
I'm pretty sure he's got tweets on there,
I
but
really want to tweet.
yeah, I think those bottle openers are pretty sweet. And then
Yep, I've given them away. They're great gifts.
For Flight is donating some stuff, and we're going to see. We're going to get Pivot to donate some stuff as well. So I think there's a lot of good stuff. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a drawing, just super simple. Like the first 1,000 subscribers are going to win something, and we'll do our best to get that out to you. And we just want to show our appreciation for you helping us out.
Free stuff. Pilots love free stuff. So now Matt said something that's super critical here. We're always upfront. We're always honest with you guys. Always. Like, you ask, we'll tell you. You want to know whatever you want to know about TPN. You want to know about, are we making money? Are we all that stuff? We're going to tell you because we're
What you see
honest.
is
Now,
what you get.
what you see is what you get. And that's the way this all started. That's the way it's always going to continue. And one of the big things here is so there are gateways, gates, I guess you have to hit before you can monetize anything on YouTube. And if you do a quick Google search, you'll know it in 13 seconds, maybe less. Or if you don't like Google and you're, tinfoil hat wearing like I am, DuckDuckGo will be fine as well. But the thing that we're trying to do is when we hit 1,000, to us, that's this big monumental number that our content is getting out to more than just the people that because on Facebook, we don't see, we might see that it reached 10,000 members of the group, a post or something like that. But we don't really know how much impact it had, or that you watched it, or that you care. On YouTube, if we have 1,000 subscribers and we kick content to you, we can see exactly how many hours, how many minutes it's been watched, and all that kind of stuff. And we know what kind of impact we're having. Now, we may make some money on this, pennies. About 1,000 members is probably about 14 cents a month or something like that, Matt,
On
right?
the
Yeah,
high
remember
end.
you
Yeah.
you crunched all the numbers. But the big thing is the more exposure that we can get, the better we can serve you, and the quicker when we get back to being able to do stuff in person, en masse. I know that some of us are being able to do stuff in person together in small groups, which we want to get back to as well with our TPN meetups and hanger flies. But in the long run, we want to go back to a TPNX scenario. And Matt and I love doing that. And that was our biggest expenditure of the year. And we loved putting all our effort into that. And it was exhausting. Um, and last year, 2019, was the year where Matt and I were both going, do we want to do this again? And I remember when we finished, Jason, Matt, and I all sat down and we said, yes. We said, we're not sure how it's going to look going forward. Some of us needed some time with personal stuff going on in our lives, but that stuff is now receded, and we are extremely motivated to bring you another TPNX like that, except larger, more enjoyable, with way more opportunity to network. And networking is whatever you want it to be. And the best way to do it is in person. And the best way to do that is through raising money in the way we're trying to get it out to you guys. And YouTube is just a start. To me, it's the easiest way we can get our information out to you. So we want to be open, we want to be honest, we want to be upfront. That's part of the process that we believe in. And if you ever have any questions, you can always email Matt or I. We're still working on the new Hey Guys. We got to get the Hey Guys at thepilotnetwork.com.
Yep.
Uh,
Consider it
email
done.
up.
That's
the tech guy, not me.
Let's start it right now. So Adam, if they want to get in touch with us, they want to ask a question, how can they do that?
Well, now we've got all sorts of different ways, right, Matt? We've got Instagram. We've got LinkedIn, which I don't know how many pilots really use LinkedIn, but it's there.
You'd be surprised.
It's true.
The interaction rate on LinkedIn is really high. It's shocking.
Good. Okay, cool. Well, so use that for you out there. You could you can hey guys at thepilotnetwork.com, because I've done this a couple times. We've swapped to the .com website, or the what do they call that, Matt?
Yeah, you can call it the .com.
Sure, the .com.
Yeah.
And then we've got, always hit us up on Facebook. You can DM us at the Pilot Network Facebook page. You can hit Matt or I up. You can scroll through links. You'll see our names or whatever. If you can't find us, we do have some privacy settings, as you should too. If you can't find us, always go to the Pilot Network Facebook page. That is checked regularly, and we respond as fast as we get messages in. And that's if you want to hit Matt or I up, or if you want to, you have an article idea for Jason Pugh, the editor-in-chief, or a podcast idea, we send that to our producer Francesca, and she works with us on handling that stuff. That makes us sound like legit. We've got editors,
we got coins and employees. You know what?
Coins, employees, hats. What more do you want? Oh, and I think Matt mentioned that we're going to have this contest, this subscription drive. I just want to be clear. Everybody, the first 1,000 people, get something. There's going to be some cool prizes, some top level prizes that will kick out to the people who get their names drawn. But everybody, the first 1,000 get something, hat, coin, whatever. We're just going to send you some cool TPN swag, and we're going to usher in 2021 in the way it should be ushered in, with a bunch of free stuff, and wishing everybody a happy new year.
Absolutely. And if you have ideas for what you want to see, questions you want to ask, stuff you want on the podcast, stuff you want on the channel, stuff you want in TPNQ, just let us know. We're always here for you.
And you can do that at heyguys@thepilotnetwork.com.
Absolutely. All right. Well, as always, keep the shiny side up and the dirty side down. Fly safe, everybody.